Hi guys, here is my first tutorial and I wanted to show you guys my cute set real quick. These are based off the character Nezuko from Demon Slayer. I had a lot of people on Reddit ask me for a tutorial for my wave nails, so I finally got it done. I ended up getting really sick after my vacation, so here is the tutorial finally. So I have some false nails that the nail salons usually have in like the booklets, and even though it is a sample nail, I still buff and put on base coat. I don't want the polish to come off, so I put on a base coat and I cure it for 60 seconds. And then for the pink, I use Model 1's 2420. It's my favorite nude pink that I use for any kind of French or any kind of ombre, like the ones I have on now. That is the pink base that I used. And I'm going to do 2 coats of that on the nail. The false nail is fairly yellow, so I wanted to do 2 thick coats of the pink just to make sure you couldn't see the yellow underneath. And then I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. And for the white, I'm using Model 1's 0555. I've used a couple different brands of polishes, but Model 1 seems to be the one that I like the best with the consistency and the opacity of most of the colors. There are some jellies, but most of the colors for Model 1s are fully opaque. For the blue, I use 0444, and both the white and blue are going to go in my little palette dish. I got this from Daiso when I was in Hawaii. You can use any kind of palette you have. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to do an angled French, and I'm going to go from the higher edge of the left side of the nail down towards a lower section of the right side of the nail to do a angled French tip with the blue, and it's going to be the base coat for the waves that we're going to be doing. And that is also going to be cured for 60 seconds. And then I have an angled brush. I put blue and white on both sides. Before we do any kind of painting, we're going to put on blooming gel. For those who don't know, blooming gel is a thin consistency, clear polish that you put on to make anything you put over it really flowy. It's used to do really good marbling effects, to do the waves. So mostly the waves is going to be like a blue and white marbling, and then what we do afterwards is what makes it look like waves. So I'm going to apply the blue and white that's on the brush, and I'm going to swirl it around, like I said, like a marbling effect. And I'm going to try to make sure it's fairly even in the blue section. I don't want any thick chunks of color. You can do it however you like, but I like mine to be fairly uniform across the nail with the mixture of white and blue. And then on the top where the blue meets the pink, I'm going to do the sea foam, and it's going to be like a large section of white near the top. Once you have the marbling how you like it, you're going to take any kind of soap sud. Some people use Dawn. I'm just using regular hand soap. You just need some soap bubbles. You're going to gently lay it over the nail so you don't spread the polish too much more. You're going to put the soap on there, and then you're going to cure it. As the nail cures, the bubbles are going to pop, and it's going to leave dips and crevices inside the nail. Not inside the nail, inside the polish. And then you're going to wipe off any excess. And what you can see is there's hills and ridges on the nail from where the soap kind of like moved the polish around. And just to make sure that your nail is not too sharp on the top from the paint, because it can sometimes be really pointy, you're going to lightly buff with a high grit sander. I have these little buffing blocks. One side is 120, one side is 180. And after that, then you are pretty much good to go. You're just going to put on a top coat. Because there are dips and crevices inside the paint, depending on how deep it is, you may need to do 2 coats of top coat to make sure your nail is flush. But make sure you just work in the top coat to make sure everything is good and level. And then you're just going to cure the top coat for 60 seconds, and then you are set to go. I plan on doing a lot more. I have, I believe, around 200 slots in my sample book for these falsies that I've been painting. So if you guys have any more ideas that you want me to try out, or if you have any designs that maybe you need help planning out, just let me know and I will see if I can make a tutorial for you guys. Thanks.